Dear Hungarian compatriots, dear friends of Hungary, on the E-days of March, Hungarians around the world proudly wear the red, white and green cockade. This year is no different, despite the fact that the pandemic does not allow us to gather, as we usually do, to remember the revolution that broke out 173 years ago on March 15, 1848. The Hungarian Revolution was a European revolution, as masses took to the streets in Paris, Vienna, Poland, and the member states of the German Confederation that spring. Yet, the Hungarian Revolution was different from that of France or in Austria. We Hungarians went to the streets for our freedom. The goal of our revolutionaries was to gain our national independence. The other revolutionary movements in Europe were suppressed or simmered out in a matter of a few days, in a week or two, whereas Hungary fought the Austrian Empire by setting up a national army. That's why we Hungarians call this great event, which is our National Day, the Revolution and the War of Independence of 1848-1849. For a year and a half, we fought against the imperial armies, which could not defeat the Hungarian freedom fighters. Finally, the War of Independence could only be defeated with the Russian Tsar's huge army of 200,000 men. In the end, it was not the Habsburg court, but to the interfering Russian army that the Hungarian army surrendered to. On such holidays, we tend to ask the question, what message does the revolution that broke out 170 years ago bear today? The revolution began on the 15th of March 1848 with the publication of the 12 points, the 12 demands of the revolutionaries. Kossuth, Petőfi, Jókai, Vasvári, and their fellows knew exactly what the vast majority of Hungarian people wanted. In the first place, they demanded freedom of the press and the abolition of censorship. The censors of the Viennese court had previously read and censored all writings destined to be printed. If the writing was not suitable to the taste of the Habsburg court, they didn't allow it to be printed. Dissenting opinions and thoughts were suppressed. People who wanted to tell the truth were cruelly punished. It all happened 170 years ago, and that message is perhaps still relevant today, as many times certain ideologies, pretending to be the mainstream, censor and ban all other forms of opinion. The Hungarian revolutionaries also demanded equality before the law from a civil as well as a religious point of view. Different rules applied to the different social strata in taxation and in justice. Furthermore, the practice of religion was not allowed in the same form for all faith and denominations. Disadvantaged were those of the Israelite religion and in some ways the Protestants as well. In today's world, freedom of religion is not absolute either. Today, it is not usually the European states that discriminate, but the fact that the most persecuted religion in the world is the Christian religion does say a lot about the current situation, and also the fact that an increasing number of our fellow European people of Israeli religion, our Jewish community, are unfortunately leaving Western Europe for a safer place. I'm very proud to say, as an ambassador of Hungary, that that doesn't happen in Hungary. The youth of March demanded the establishment of a national bank in the 12 points. One of the main national economic pillars, of course, of every nation state is an independent central bank. In our globalized world, one of the biggest challenges is the public control of the financial sector. It is on the basis of mutual benefits that it is possible to join a financial zone and give up one's banknote printing sovereignty of a nation state. For the time being, Hungary stands by its own financial policy, one of the pillars of which is our national bank, but of course it is open to joining a well-functioning financial community in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, here in Brussels, this city is very important for us, also for the 1848-49 revolution. Brussels plays an important role in the lives of Hungarians who were forced to leave the country and take exile. Baron Miklós Jósika, a well-known writer, a deputy, found a refuge here. As a member of the Defense Committee, he was condemned to death in absentia. And not far from our place today, there is a memorial plaque in his honor. One of our greatest heroes of our revolution, and in fact the entire Hungarian history, Lajos Kossuth's mother, Caroline Weber, and her sisters also spent a few months here in Brussels on their way to America. Kossuth Lászlóné, the mother of Kossuth, died here in Brussels, where she rests in eternity, in peace, in Szent József Node, in the cemetery. And every year, in representing the Hungarian community, we lay our wreath of respect at her burial site. Today, we Hungarians say we are proud of what our predecessors achieved and did 173 years ago. Of course, those in power that time condemned the idea of the revolution, the revolutionaries, and were cruelly punishing all freedom fighters. Those who were initiators and participants in these world historical events were stigmatized and punished. But 6 generations later, we honor them not only as the heroes of the Hungarian nation, but also of Europe. In their memory, let's listen together to the performance by János Balázs, our Kossuth Prize-winning pianist, of Ferenc Liszt's Hungarian Rhapsody No. 6, while admiring the historical sites of Hungary, of which we are also very proud, as well as the heroes of our 1848-49 revolution. Thank you very much for your attention.